Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Tinker O'Toole again here with another video. Today we're going to talk about air filters, how efficient they are. People complain that sawdust is getting in around the carburetor or around the throat. This is fuel injected, so people are complaining getting sawdust here. And I'm going to go over why you get sawdust in there and how you can avoid getting sawdust in there. Most of the time, it's operator error in the way that they remove the filter, cleaning the filter. So I'll sort of go into that. First of all, I'll talk about, if you tilt the saw over, this is the area that's going to create a lot of sawdust. You'll see this little ridge here, that little ridge, and this little ridge here. This will sit in there and create a bit of a seal, and this rubber part here will sit against here and create a seal. While that's not perfect, it's fairly good enough. There's another raised ridge here. It goes all the way around the saw. And if you have a look inside the filter, this section here on top, you'll see that section there, that fits in here, creating another seal. Another complaint is people saying that the washer doesn't make a good seal. I put about a 3.5mm rubber washer there. That works a lot better. Also, I put a pool noodle, roughly it's about 60mm wide, and I cut it about 6mm thick. That pool noodle sits there stopping sawdust getting in. Okay, here's the problem on this saw, and I'll show you on a few of the other saws. Let's just say you're out all day, come home, and you're going to clean the filter, doing the maintenance on the saw, and you pull the filter off. When you pull the filter off and it's all full of sawdust, it's just going to, half of it's going to drop down in here. Particles will fall in. Even if you get a brush and air hose, you'll still manage to get particles that will drop in. How do you stop particles getting in? And even here, let's just say that you don't have the modifications that I did, and you'll find out you get sawdust particles in here and fines. And as you pull the filter off, they'll fall inside. Pretty much guaranteed on any filter that that's going to happen where there's lots of sawdust. Even though you'll use an air hose or a brush, it can still happen. I'm still saying use the air hose or use the brush to get off what you can. And this is so simple. Turn the saw upside down like that. Pull the filter off. Where's the sawdust going to go? It's going to fall on the ground. That's all you got to do. You do that on any chainsaw, you eliminate any sawdust falling into the carburetor, or in this case, a fuel injection system. This saw over here, MS311, it's got the plastic shroud here to stop a lot of the sawdust all going in there, and hopefully it makes a good seal at the side. If it makes a good seal, it does a reasonably good seal, it'll stop a lot of the sawdust getting in there. But again, a lot of the sawdust all gets in and around the carburetor and behind here. The same problem exists, that when you twist this, if you haven't blown all the sawdust off, it'll drop sawdust in there, guaranteed. Tip it upside down, problem solved. So easy. Then if we go to another one, the MS181, it has another filter system. This is the poorest filter system of all, where it clips on like this. It may have a little bit of sawdust around there, and a little bit may drop on here. Again, pretty easy to solve that problem by tipping that upside down like that. And again, the sawdust is going to drop down on the ground. So that's my tip there. Now, the other thing to also consider, that when you look at this, this is about 2 inches wide, about 3 inches. And the surface area, that 2 inches by 3 inches, is roughly 3,700 square millimeters of surface area. Not a lot. But then you go to the concertina type, car type filter, like this. And there's a lot of surface area on something like that. And the surface area on that type of filter, that if you could unpleat it all, it would be 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches, and that would be 29,000 square millimeters. On the 500i, it's even a bigger filter. It will be 9 inches by 9 inches square if you were to unfold it and calculate it, and that would be 53,000 square millimeters. So if we just look at this picture up here in the top left-hand corner, it shows someone using a chainsaw, and there's 2 pictures there, so we'll show 2 pictures. But what you will notice that 99% of the discharge of the sawdust goes down on the ground, and it's only a small amount floating around in the air, because if it was a lot, you'd be breathing it all in. That's why a lot of people wear a dust mask when using a chainsaw. It's that fine particles that do get in there, and as I said, you need to tip your chainsaw upside down when you want to remove your air filter, and that will stop any fines or sawdust entering the carburetor area, or in this case, the fuel injection throttle body. The other thing that can happen also is when you've got a longer bar on your chainsaw, it will produce more sawdust as well. Also, if your chain is a little bit blunt, it'll be producing more sawdust than chips. If you're producing a lot of chips, you'll only get a little bit of sawdust, but if you're a little bit on the blunt side, you'll produce more sawdust. The more sawdust, fine sawdust that is, that you produce, it just gets in everywhere. The other thing to also consider, and it's totally unavoidable, and this is why it makes it difficult to have a perfect system, is that we're discharging sawdust in this lower section of the saw, and that is only about 5 to 6 inches distance away from the filter. So it's inevitable that you're going to draw in particles on the filter. And it just means that when you clean the filter, if you tip it upside down, those particles will fall on the ground. It's pretty much that simple. Now, you can go out, there is filters out there, another one that's popular with a lot of people, I haven't tried it personally, MaxiFlow, it's a foam filter. It should be a double foam filter. Normally when you have a foam filter, the edges of the foam filter will be welded to the support structure of the filter, and they normally put another sock over the top. And that's, so you got your primary filter and your secondary filter in a foam filter. And it should be in either a metal cage or a plastic type structure. Whereas here you've got the top and the bottom, and this here is the structure that holds it together. So there's normally on a cartridge type foamed filter, you need that plastic cage to support the foam filter. They seem to be very popular. These are also extremely popular because these are spun out of PET, which means that they're not paper. They can spin them to any microns that they want, way down to 2 microns. And you can put them in a soapy water and wash them, and you can do that hundreds of times and they won't degrade like paper would. So the final point really is that when you do maintenance on your filter and you're going to blow it out with the air hose, once that's done, tip it upside down, or whether you use a paintbrush, tip the chainsaw upside down to remove the air filter. That will avoid any fine particles entering the carburetor, or in this case, into the fuel injection system. You don't want to be getting sawdust in here. It's pretty much that simple, people. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.